Hi, my name is Dolores, and I'm a 68-year-old woman who built out a camper van to travel. I moved into my van on October 3rd, and I've slept in here every night since then. I left home November 10th to come to Quartzsite. First, I went to Florida. It was so cold in Florida. I said, instead of me going deeper into Florida to get the warmer weather, why don't you just head towards where you were going, which is Quartzsite, Arizona, and chase the warm weather that way? I did. I left Pensacola, Florida on Tuesday, and I ended up in Houston, Texas on Wednesday. I hung around in Houston for like a day or so, and I was running out of power. I got solar panels, but I said, can you put solar panels up in a park and charge your battery? So I got a campground. I got a campground in Pensacola, Florida as well because it was so cold. I knew I was going to have to run my heater. So I got the campground in Pensacola, Florida, and I said, I need to get out of here. It's freeze warnings for the next few nights at that particular time, and I'm like, no, we need home from freezing weather to go back to freezing weather. So anyhow, I left and went to Houston. I drove straight through. I got to Houston. It was like 80 degrees, 79, 80 degrees, and the nights were like 59, 60 I could deal with. So when I got to Houston, I did stay at a Love's truck stop that night. And then I left there and went into the city of Houston. And it was interesting. A lot of traffic. I'm like, so I went to a park and I hung out at the park. And I decided, well, maybe it's dark. It's getting ready to get dark. Let me get a campground and go stay at a campground because I didn't know where to park. I went to Cracker Barrel, but I had to park in the back, and I didn't like the way that looked. I went to a Walmart, and Walmart said no overnight camping at that one. So I said, you know what? I'll just get a campground, and I'll just stay there. The more I left, well, anyway, I stayed at a campground in Houston, and then I left Houston, and I went to El Paso. It took me a couple of days because I don't drive that long because it makes me tired. So I stop at a Love's truck stop around 4 or 5 o'clock in the evening, about 3:30, 4 o'clock. And that's where I camped at Love's truck stops. Quick trips. I didn't do the Cracker Barrel thing because I did park at a Cracker Barrel in El Paso. And no, I parked at a Cracker Barrel between Houston and El Paso. And once I parked, it was in the back. Nobody was there. They closed at 10. And I'm like, well, I got to park way back here. I wanted to park under the light, but I didn't do that because she told me to park in the back. So I went to the back and I parked. And it was getting ready to get dark. A little car pulled up next to me. Right next to me. Nothing else back there in that big parking lot but me in the van for Cracker Barrel, their catering van, and they pulled up right next to me. And I'm like, It was a man, bearded man. He sit there, he cut his car off, and he start texting. And I'm like, this this don't feel right. So I left there, and that's when I went to the quick trip. And she said, yeah, you can park out there, park on this side where the cameras are, and da-da-dee and da-da-da, and I'll park. And I went to sleep because I was tired. And the next day I got up Paso. So when I got to El Paso, which was 3 days later, I know why would it take you that long? Because I don't drive for 3, 4, 5 hours. 5 hours is enough. 5 hours driving for me was very tiring. Just sitting there driving. And once I got to El Paso, I said, you know what? What are you doing? You sleeping in random parking lots. You spending money on campgrounds, and you ain't really doing no different than what you were when you was in the city. So I thought about, well, just turn around and go back home. And I said, I didn't come this far just to turn around and go back home. So I went to sleep, got up the next day, got ready, packed up, and took off from El Paso. I said, I'm driving from El Paso to Tucson, and I'm going straight through. Then when I get to Tucson, I'll be a few hours from Quartzsite, and I'm doing this. So I got on the road from El Paso, going through New Mexico, y'all. It was windy. It was signs on the side of the road. I didn't film any of this because my camera holder kept falling, and I didn't want to break my phone. I didn't want to go through that. So anyway, I said I'm not stopping. I was gonna stop in Las Cruces and spend the night, which it wasn't but 40 minutes away, and didn't make sense. So when I got to Las Cruces, I'm gonna keep going. I'm going to Tucson today. So I almost made it to Tucson, and I saw you know, those little light up signs on the road. Well, let's go back. Mexico, girl, it was so much wind, and then all these little warnings. The storms can happen for the next 15 miles, and then the next little sign said visibility could be 0, and then the next sign said if you're in a dust storm. Next sign said pull off the road, cut off your car, and take your foot off the brake. I was like, oh, heck to the no, no, no. I said, we gonna push on through here. And them trucks was going by me. It was already flat and windy, and I was top rocking. Probably because I don't have no upper cabinets, which I might fix that. And so I left there. I drove straight through New Mexico. I wanted to get out of New Mexico. And once I got out of New Mexico, the wind wasn't as strong. Those trucks would go by me, and I promise you, I felt like my tires was coming up off the ground. I was white knuckling it all the way through New Mexico. Scary. Anyway, I finally made it to a place called Benson, Arizona, and I spent the night there at a Love's truck stop. So I woke up the next morning from Benson, and I just drove. I think it was 4 hours to get to Quartzite. Whatever it was, I drove straight through. I did stop at a couple of rest stops to get out, stretch my legs. You know, 68. I mean, to stretch my legs, okay? So anyway, I made it to Quartzite. I got to Tucson, got to Phoenix. Traffic in Phoenix, and then I got to Quartzite. And once I got to Quartzite, after seeing Phoenix, beautiful city. Phoenix is gorgeous, and everything you want is in Phoenix, right? I got to Quartzite. I think it said Quartzite the next 2 exits or something like that. And so I said, okay. Got off at the main street. I rode down Main Street, and I got to Main Street in seemed like 3 blocks, but it was a little longer than that. And I'm like, there's nothing here. There was a Love's truck stop there, and I should have went to Love's and spent the night. But once I got there, I said, I need to plug in. I need to charge my batteries. I need to keep my refrigerator going. I need to charge up. I just needed you to. So I said, you know what? It's gonna rain tomorrow. And everybody I talked to about Quartzsite, well, make sure you don't park in a wash. What the heck is a wash? I see. What is that? Well, water rushes through there and it'll sweep you away. Like, well, we ain't going in the desert today. We're gonna get a campsite for 2 days. So I stayed at the campsite Monday and Tuesday that week. And Monday I was so tired when I got there. I fixed me something to eat and I just went to sleep. It was not cold. It was a little chilly because it was raining, but nothing like Florida. No 32 degrees. So I got there and I said, am I gonna be able to do this desert thing? And then I got up Tuesday and I rode through where the long-term visitors area was. The guy at the campsite told me how to get there. It was, what, 8 minutes away. So I drove over there, went to the first one, and she said, well, if you're not self-contained, you can't stay here. I'm like, I got a toilet, and I got a gray water tank inside, so why is that not? It's not like it's running on the ground, right? She said, well, you need hookups, things where I can hook up to a sewer dump station. I said, okay. So she said, you need to go to South. And they got everything down there. They got a blue boy. I didn't know what a blue boy was until I got here. They got a blue boy and everything. So I left and I said, you know what? Let me go think about this before I start spending money. And I went to the laundromat. I did my laundry. I thought about it. I called a friend and she said, well, what do you want to do? I said, well, yesterday when I got here, I felt like a kid that's first day of school. I didn't know anybody. I didn't know what to do, where to go, what to say, or what the, you know? I'm like, oh my gosh, this is total isolation for me. I'm used to, in my city, I'll see somebody I know all the time, but it was different here. And I thought I was gonna come here and I was gonna see all these content creators and blada and blada and bloody and man, hey. That didn't happen. So I said, well, I came back and it was closed. I said, well, maybe that's a sign that I don't need to get out my money. I need to take my money and go back home. So I did, went on to the campground and sorry about that. Went on to the campground and once I got there, I went to South like she said. I rode all the way to when the road ran out. I rode a little bit. I said, oh heck no, I'm gonna shake everything loose inside my van. It was really bumpy, rocky, ugly. I turned around, made a U-turn and come up out of that. Then I came back up and I turned to the right and I said, let's see what's over here. So I went back in there and I didn't like the way people was looking at me like, who is this? And then later on to find out, that's where the newbie section was. I should have stayed back there, but I didn't because I wasn't supposed to. I say that because when I came out, I saw this guy sitting beside his trailer. He had one of those cargo trailers he building out, and he had a pickup truck. He was sitting there eating pretzels, drinking up RC Cola. And I said, I come on I pulled up, cut it off, got out. I said, sir, I really don't mean to bother you, but I don't know what I'm doing. And I don't know, looking at how everybody's parked, I don't know where to park, where not to park, how to park. I don't know anything. I'm new at this. This is my first time. And I ain't never done this before. Excuse me. he looked at me. He said, I understand. Well, why don't you just share my site? Pull up right over here. It ain't 15 feet, but that's okay. And let's talk this out. And we're going to figure this out. We're going to help you get used to this. And when I tell y'all, I felt like, oh, it was such a relief to find a friendly person to help me do all of this stuff that I didn't know how to do. So anyway, our part, he helped me get level. He brought his level out, and I was level. And then I don't think I put my solar panels out that day because I just had unplugged. Little did I know. So anyway, we talked. He told me a lot of the ins and outs, and he told me how everything worked out here. And I was like, really an eye-opening experience for me. And I just felt a connection with him, just a connection with him, because he was nice and he was understanding, and I like that. Anyway, so he told me he had a friend coming over, and I didn't do this one either, y'all. And when she finally came that evening, I was inside, and I looked. I said, "Is that Alyssa Vanilla?" And then I said, "Man, she got whatever it was that she had." Sorry. Then I looked again when she got out. I said, "That is Alyssa Vanilla," because he had told me my friend can help you with band stuff when she gets here. And she did. She was so nice, so helpful. She showed me how to use this propane stove that I was scared of. She said, "Oh my gosh, it's still in the box with the papers. It's never been used." I said, "I don't know how to use it." And the next day, my solar panels were still in the new pack. And Dave showed me how to put them up. And he showed me how to keep chasing the sun as the day went. And I charged my battery all the way up to 100%. And then it rained for 2 days. And I thought I could still do everything I did. I couldn't. So I'm learning. I'm learning very well. In the morning times, I sit my solar panels. I just leave them out. I just leave them outside. I sit them facing the first sun. And before I get up, it's already charging. Then I open up my blinds. That's my heat. It just heat the man up like you turn a heater on. And I open up the front curtains and I'm getting warm. And in the daytime, when the sun's really beaming, I open up the windows and let the fresh air go in and out. And when I come back in the evenings, I close them to hold the heat. So this place is like $180 for 7 months. $180 one time for 7 months. I said, that's what really sold me on. Girl, you need to get used to this. You ain't got to spend no more money. Do it. So I did it. And I'm here. And I'm loving it. At first, it was a little sketchy. But now, I'm loving it. Enjoying it. And every day, we have nothing to do unless we want to do. And well, I got my chores. I get up, I make up my bed, make my coffee, I sit in the sun, I get warm, and me and Dave sit outside and we talk, and sometimes we leave and go into town, and it's just kick back, sit back, and enjoy. And that's what I'm doing, and that's why I wanted to come out here. I wanted to kick back, reset, and enjoy. So I don't want to make this video too long, and I will be back and let y'all see my setup. I let y'all see my electricity, my heat, my toilet station, dump station, water station. I mean, everything's out here, and it's included in the $185 for 7 months. I don't have to leave here until April, whatever. And I think I'm gonna be here. So anywho, not to prolong things, y'all have a great day. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I get a lot of views, but I need the subscribers. Come on, y'all. Let's pull this up to 500 subscribers. And I'll try to do a video every week about something and let y'all know how my journey's going. So if you want to follow me on my journey, just hit that notification button. Every time I put up a video, you'll be notified. And like and subscribe. And until the next video, bye for now. And I'll see you guys later.